Dr. William Beans was born on January 24th, 1749, in Croon, a small town in Prince George's County, Maryland. As a small child, William grew up in an affluent home. His parents were wealthy landowners. However, he received a public education. Upon completing his public education, William wanted to learn medicine to become a doctor. Since there was no official medical college in the 13 colonies, his parents hired a local doctor to teach him. Upon the shot heard round the world at Lexington and Concord, Dr. Beans offered his medical expertise following the battle at the General Hospital in Philadelphia. After his service at the General Hospital, Dr. Beans attended to wounded soldiers on the front lines at the battles of Brandywine and Long Island, as well as through the winter at Valley Forge. Following Dr. Bean's service in the Revolution, he settled in Upper Marlboro, Maryland, where he became a respected doctor in the region. In 1799, Dr. Beans, along with Doctors John and Thomas Archer, established the Maryland State Medical Society. Dr. Beans played a much larger role in the War of 1812. In the summer of 1814, British forces sailed up the Chesapeake Bay, landing several regiments of soldiers along the Patuxent River. Marching up to Upper Marlboro, the British noticed that the town was deserted, except for Dr. Beans, who offered his home as a base of operations for the British. Thinking that Dr. Beans was sympathetic to the British, they used his home as a base of operations for the Battle of Bladensburg and the burning of Washington, D.C. in August of 1814. Unknown to the British was that Dr. Beans and his household staff were eavesdropping on the British communications and passing information on spies. Soon after the burning of Washington, British deserters went in search of food. The deserters ransacked local farms nearby. One of the farms was owned by the 11th governor of Maryland, Robert Bowie. Bowie, enraged, asked anyone in the area to assist in tracking down the British deserters and take matters into their own hands. Dr. Beans caught wind of Bowie's call for help and asked Doctors William Hill and Philip Weems to help. The group arrested a small number of the deserters and confined them to the Prince George's County Jail. One of the deserters managed to escape from the jail and promptly scurried to the British ships in southern Maryland. After hearing the news, General Ross and Admiral Cockburn ordered the arrest of the three doctors. By the end of August, Dr. William Hill and Philip Weems were released. However, the British would not release the now 65-year-old Dr. Beans under the pretense that the British believed he was a spy. After learning that Dr. Beans would not be released, several of his friends hurried back to Georgetown to meet with a prominent lawyer they hoped would help. As a Frederick, Maryland native and prominent Georgetown lawyer, he decided to go with prisoner exchange Colonel John Stuart Skinner to negotiate Dr. Beans' release. Upon arriving on the HMS Tonnant, the British decided that Dr. Beans was no longer a threat or a spy. However, the British would not allow the three Americans to leave the Tonnant because they had overheard conversations about the British positions in the Chesapeake Bay. The three were forced to return to the American vessel, the President, and wait within the ranks of the British Navy until the upcoming Battle of Baltimore was concluded. On the morning of September 13th, 1814, the bombardment of Fort McHenry and the battle for Baltimore began. For the next 27 hours, the three Americans watched in horror as the British fired their cannons, firearms, and rockets at Fort McHenry. Throughout the day and into the night, the three could see nothing due to the amount of smoke released into the air. By nightfall, and with the bombs bursting in air, their view of Fort McHenry was obscured. On the morning of September 14th, the three saw the American flag still flying strongly. The British failed to take Baltimore, and subsequently left the three Americans to sail back into Baltimore. By September 16th, Dr. Beans, Skinner, and our prominent lawyer were all back in Baltimore. One of them was inspired by what they saw during the bombardment and wanted to write a poem about what happened. The poem, titled Defense of Fort McHenry, was set to the tune of a popular British song. Eventually, the song was renamed The Star Spangled Banner and became a well known song across the new nation. It was composed by Maryland native Ernie Key. Its use as a national anthem wasn't until 1931 when President Herbert Hoover made the song the official national anthem. Dr. Bean's capture, incidentally, was the reason that Key was in the Chesapeake Bay that fateful day and inspired to write the poem. Dr. Bean spent the remainder of his life living in his home in Upper Marlboro. William Beans passed away in his home on October 12, 1828. His legacy lives on through his capture as a possible spy, and an actual spy, and Key's monumental poem. Inspiring our national anthem, it is even more so in its full text, which I relay to you now. Oh, say can you see, by the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? On the shore dimly seen through the mists of the deep, where the foe's haughty host in dread silence reposes, what is that which the breeze or the towering steep, as it fitfully blows, half conceals, half discloses? Now it watches the gleam of the morning's first beam, in full glory reflected now shines in the stream. 'Tis the star-spangled banner, O long may it wave, o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. And where is that band who so vauntingly swore that the havoc of war and the battle's confusion, a home and a country should leave us no more? Their blood has watched out their foul footsteps' pollution. No refuge could save the hireling and slave from the terror of fight or the gloom of the grave, and the star-spangled banner in triumph doth wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Oh, thus be it ever when freemen shall stand between their loved home and the war's desolation. Blessed with victory and peace may the heaven-rescued land praise the power that hath made and pressured us a nation. Oh, thus be it ever when freemen shall stand between their loved home and a war's desolation. Blessed with victory and peace may the heaven-rescued land praise the power that has made and preserved us a nation. Then conquer we must when our cause it is just, and this be our motto, in God is our trust. And the star-spangled banner in triumph shall wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.